profit as part of their budget. Now, all of them, with the exception of 3 out of 11, are now in deficit. In other words, they buy from Eskom, and what they get from sales, because of non-payment and stealing and so on and so forth, they actually have a negative. So they want to give back to Eskom that particular problem. So where are we on this in terms of national strategy, and how are we going to handle this? Because this, is adding to the bad performance of municipalities from a financial point of view, and so on. And then what impact that has now on Eskom? Because as much as we are happy with private sector generating energy, so on the best payers and the biggest contribution in finance that should be coming to Eskom to revive Eskom, that is disappearing. And then the non-payment and stealing on the other side is increasing. So if you apply a business principle, within 6 to 8 years, there will be no Eskom, because obviously there will be no money. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kapila. We move to number 7. I think it's next to number 6.
Greetings, Chair. Greetings to the Minister and the Premier. My name is Kgosientsho. I'm the Managing Director of Zenco Energy. We're an independent power producer. Minister, my question to you is, we, as an independent power producer, we've secured 3 off-takes with private estates, and we've secured a shopping center to commission one of the largest solar plants in KZN. And we find ourselves having a bit of trouble with the bureaucratic red tape to plug those solar plants onto the grid. So we've been forced to move the solar plant closer to the western region of Durban, so the likes of Hillcrest Kloof. Initially, we were going to commission it in Kokstad, but due to the power lines being an issue, a kilometer to put a power line that was going to plug into Eskom infrastructure would cost R1 million per kilometer. So that was going to be too expensive for us. Rather, we looked at plugging 3 private estates and a shopping center, which was going to be to the equivalent of 5 to 10 megawatts. It was going to take quite a lot of pressure off the grid. We'd like to know, how can we work directly with the ministry to ensure that the bureaucratic red tape is removed, and that if we need to plug into the grid, what process that we need to go through with Eskom. We have the investors, we have the land. The land is not an issue for us. The money is not an issue for us. It's just a matter of how can we plug in and make sure that the connection is seamless. Thank you.
Thank you. Number 8.
Greetings, Chair. Greetings, Minister, and greetings to the Ondonankulu wethu. I have 3 questions, quick questions. They're follow-up questions to the last year energy summit that we have had beginning of the year. It was before...
I miss your name.
Oh, sorry. My name is Tsanduxolo Mhlongo, energy engineer from DeFi Appliances. So from the last engagement we had, it was prior to you being appointed minister, sir. We had plans of nuclear power plant here in KZN and bringing back units like Colenso, and so I wanted to understand what are the plans there and how far are we, because it was a good plans that we had to bring back power into the grid. The second one is the most pressing one, is the gas issue with the Mozambique deal. We use gas, we use electricity, so it's a bit of a concern for me, because at the moment there is no one coming out saying, there's no clarity as to what's going to happen. So maybe by when can we anticipate those answers, because even the repurposement of the generators from coal to gas will be very reliant on these answers. So that's something also I'd like to know. Then lastly, the demand side management. That's the easiest one for us to reduce the demand on the grid. What has the government done to force maybe municipalities and companies to convert to LED, or rather, must I say, what incentives are there to make the transition more lucrative to them? Because if we can change the old lights that we have to, it's easy savings for us. Thank you.
Thank you. Number 9 on the back. In the back. Number 9 is in the back. The lady in the back is number 9. And that was the last person. I had 9 hands. Unless somebody was... The lady there in the back. Yeah, you may speak this.
Greeting, ladies and gentlemen. Greetings to the Minister. My name is Michelle Fisser, and I come from a company called Art Solar. We are a local manufacturer of PV modules. Thank you so much for the presentation, Minister. My questions to you is, first of all, let me start saying, we are willing to reach out to hand and say we will be able to provide you with the PV modules as well as the relative skills of installing those PV modules. However, when would you be able to visit our facility so that we can discuss more about this? And what can we do on our side as a local manufacturer of PV modules? Thank you.
Thank you. I can see that when I asked for hands, others were thinking about raising them. And then when they see the flow, they want to raise them. And they want to make me a bad person, but because I don't want to be a bad person, and I want Minister to get every information and every input that you can provide. I'm going to give the 3 gentlemen that have just raised their hands. There is the first one here with the black shirt, and the second one with the black shirt, and the third one with the khaki blazer. You are the third. Any other hand this side? You are all fine. Okay.
No, Ngibingelele, and thank you for your generosity, Chair. No, my name is Wanda Jata. I come from the Black Business Federation. I'm the Secretary General. So our members are small black businesses through various business forums. Greeting to Minister, the Premier, as well as all other government officials who are here. I just want to, mine is just a personal experience. One, we had a partner who have a license from NERSA to supply electricity. We then engaged the municipality to use infrastructure in distributing this electricity, so obviously as an intervention. But what we have found is exactly what my, I think was number 7, who is an IPP. There is a lot of red tapes and bureaucracy and stuff, because our engagement, we've engaged into the level of the Deputy City Manager for Trading Services, who electricity belongs under his cluster. But you could sense whether they do not understand the process of engagement, or whether there is no willingness, or it's just pure red tapes. Because we were not asking for money, we just wanted access. And then in return, we were going to address the issue of unemployment, job creation by training the young people, employing them, and as well as empowering small SMEs, because our other partner was Solar Africa, who have capacity to build plants of any capacity with investors, with money readily available. So, Minister, I think after that, they've called the Energy Summit, which was called by Mayor Mxolisi Kaunda, to start a process of entering IPPs. But also we found that process, because when we were even engaging that in all of this, and I think, Minister, including in what you are presenting, I do not see the element of small black businesses being integrated and being empowered and being part of the process, because also this process, they involve a lot of money, a lot of insurance, so small businesses actually don't have a role. So, Minister, if we could just maybe address one, the model that must be used by municipalities, which is transparent, so that when we engage them on a model that we know that it exists. So rather than telling us that we must go to the council, we must go to committees. Now it's like you are asking a favor, so there is no clear model on how this intervention should be engaged by independent power producers. And then also, if we can then now also understand, Minister, that how transformation will happen in all this, and how small black businesses should participate and benefit. Thank you.
Number 2.
Sanbonani, greetings, because it's the ministerial office, Tobela. My name is Brian Mpono. I'm the CEO of the most iconic property development on the east coast of Africa and possibly the southern hemisphere, and a large contributor of rates and taxes to eThekwini municipality. No, good is introduced.
Okay.
I would ngikhambe ematatela, but la ngisebenza khona kithi. Minister, I have a small ask. It's not a question, but it's an ask, and possibly a clarion call. Ukuthi, as much as you've called us captains of industry here, business persons who contribute, I'd like to think critically, to ekusebenziseni kagesi nasekuphehliweni kwawo. I'd like your department to filter down yonke le jargon le down to ugogo no auntie who stay eJelimnyama, Dazenhoek, Mamelodi, Deep Kloof, Nquthu. Because allow me to be PC here. That is where the ruling party's voting power is, and other parties. So if we battle to communicate and say, we, the political leaders of the country, we strive to work, build South Africa together. If we are to realize that, and given the nature and the magnitude of the diabolical challenge, which is enough power to power up the country, I believe kubalulekile bakwethu ukuthi si filter down le jargon ukuthi no gogo, no auntie, no baba, no bani, who wait for 7 o'clock ubuka izindaba to see kwenzakalani ezweni sakhile. Ku-important ucommunicate lento to say nakhe sikwenzayo sifailile la, we are fixing it like this. This is how it affects you, spaza shop, mama odaisa amakinati nama veg on the side of the road, because some of those mothers have put through kids through university. So they are also very critical stakeholders, good value chain, and I think if we are to really change and fix the problem, we need to involve them so that they are aware of how stage 2. I will say, not at that level, but at a deeper level, Minister, this is the robust way we are fixing the problem. When it affects you like this, when as a mall owner or a developer, it affects you like this, so that now they can contribute in going to gas or solar, and they understand why sisuka ku gas, ngoba phela uhulumeni engikhokhela ugesi, mawuhamba ugesi sector 5 ngifaka solar, it's those little things that, because they are the masses, and when they cry and throw tires in the middle of the road and burn, and finally we must keep them abreast so that they don't act erratically and in untoward ways.
Siyabonga. The number 3 with second round.
Thank you very much. Ngibingelela uMinister, uPremier, uCEO we-Richards Bay, IDZ, kanye no-MEC wakaKhoda. Okwami will be very short, Minister. My concern is the ownership of these renewable energy projects. Since 2011, when ITEGU was hosting COP17, that's where my interest of solar started. But I can tell you that only last year, where I'm closer to be able to break through, because I was fortunate to be introduced to BRICS, the South African BRICS Business Council Energy and Green Economy Working Group, through some business, through the Durban Chamber and so on. So my minister, a concern is that as we are sitting here, and as you know that most of the people are unemployed, so abanayi lokunyani ownership of this thing, umlazi abanayi ownership to this thing, any error. And right now, Minister, these people are busy changing ownership of these renewable energy projects. So my appeal will be that Umuntu will be coming to your office to try and come up with projects, because what I've discovered is that these guys are well advanced. Right now, the development are in Free State, Harmony Gold, all these companies that are generating their own power. Once they've done that, they are inviting now those that are closer to them to develop another energy to supply them on these long-term contracts. But there is no real ownership that is broad-based. So I will appeal, I must apologize to Mzani Msomi. My company is Zimvelo Solar Power, trading as Some Valley Traders and Poultry Farm. Thank you.
Thank you. May I then allow that the minister comes first, then the premier will then come in.
Oh, no, thank you very much for the questions. They are particularly helpful. I think this engagement have proven to be extremely productive, because there's significant insights we also get to draw from comments, questions that gets to be thrown at us. There are contributions that are individual or company specific, maybe from Ms. Hlatswayo on the coal side, and Kuto from Zenko Energy. And my team is here. Fortune there, we will just get that gentleman there, we'll get your contact, and then we'll come and sit with you. My team is very prolific, you'll see. We'll move faster than you think. We are not a typical government, very atypical. So, and then Michelle.
Minister, but I would have loved you to tell her the complications about coal.
Oh, yes, I will. Okay, I was going to do it in that session, but let me just say broad, yeah. No, thanks for your guidance, Premier. Yes, Premier. No, thanks, Premier, for that guidance. So we will still engage, but just to say to the audience is that you're finding that many financing institutions, so the local banks, commercial banks, have taken a decision they are not financing anything that has to do with coal. And also major Western powers and their associated financial institutions are not going the coal route. There are very few players who are likely going to look at financing coal, but then also that present geopolitical risks also for the country. But what is the point I'm making is that when you think coal, I think it gets to be paired with cleaner forms of coal, new advanced technologies of coal, because remember the issues around ensuring that we are able to reduce the carbon emissions, the issues of sulfur that we get to emit, and that's why our IRP, our Integrated Resource Plan, which is our comprehensive policy articulation on how we see the energy mix to support the South African economy, talks of renewable energy sources to be on the rise exponentially. The greater role of cleaner sources of fuels on the base load. At least gas is considered to be a step down. The issues of hydro are becoming more prominent, and you're seeing the withering away of coal as a share of the mix. So I'm just saying that I think the Premier is correct, maybe just to make that point, and also to say that we have, as a country, we have taken that view in relation to our national determined contribution. These are voluntary targets that the country set itself to ensure that we are able to reduce emissions, which results into the occurrence or regularity of adverse weather conditions. And those have been very devastating here in the province, what we call climate change. So there's science to support the correlation of increased emissions and the occurrence of extreme weather conditions. But we'll sit with you, of course, understand what the issues are, Ms. Tlatswayo. And Kucho will do that, my brother. And I think that is applicable also. Wanda, I think as you are raising a particular experience, but there's also a bigger conversation I suggest you want to suggest on just having a focus on the interests of small business in the context of these interventions. I got that you are a SG of small business that have organized themselves, so we can arrange a conversation in addition to the issue that we have raised. And then to Ms. Fesser, I'm here for 3 days on another business, so I'm available Thursday or Friday to come to your factory. I agree it's a factory, ne? You manufacture there. You are not assembling, you are manufacturing. Even if you assemble, we'll come through. Just tell Fortune, we'll agree on the time, we'll come through. And then our intention is to help build your capacity, broaden it, because we really want to happen to see the localization of this production. And I guess that when we meet with Wanda, we'll also get into that level of detail on what is possible going forward. And then maybe let me start from what Peter was saying. Yes, you put it nicely. You saw I was going up and down the presentation. It's a different version. There's a version where at the end, I put the map. You know how engineers were taught, ne? At the end, what are you saying? Mr. Kumalo says he got lost. I don't know how you got lost, but I think what he said, he wanted that summary. I'll give it to know. It's absolutely. The version I had at the end was saying 2024, these are the megawatts, these are the months. I know what you are saying. And then your interest is, I guess, is that slide, really. And then it answers all of the above. So we'll do that. And then Mr. Kumalo also raises the issues around, who owns ESCOM? ESCOM is owned by the South African people. It's a state-owned enterprise. Government determines policy. ESCOM executes in terms of that mandate. And of course, the accounting authority is the board. The chief executive officer is the accounting executive, and I'm the executive authority in relation to the generation side. So although, if you look at, I'm not presenting an ESCOM response to the crisis. I'm sharing with you the South Africa's response to the crisis. But the key part of that is ESCOM is indispensable to the resolution of that problem because of its historic role. On the new generator, old generator, I always like using metaphors so that you understand it better. Just to take Brian's counsel. Just imagine for a moment that you got a tender to transport a scholar transport tender. And then you have a bus, it's for a period of 10 years. I know it's not 10 years. And then one day your bus gets banned. Maybe there's a service delivery protest. You are a casualty of that. Or there's issues of wires misfiring. Then your bus gets banned. And then you call the manufacturer, whoever the manufacturer is, Mercedes, Volvo, and you say, I want a new bus. They tell you, boss, we've got a long queue. I can only give you the bus in 7 years' time. But someone says, Mchan, I've got a second-hand bus, is still under warranty, motor plane. You can have it now. So what do? Are you going to lose the tender and wait for those chaps? No, I'm taking this one now, and then that's the example I always use on. Unless if you don't want that tender, Mr. Kumar, then you can give it to me. But on a serious note, Mr. Kumar, so when they design these units, for an example, if you take the old one, Arnold, it's 50 years. They tell you that this unit is a manufacturer's warranty, it will run for 50 years. And then we went and looked for the new one. They told us we must wait for about 4 years. And then there was a one, they said, no, but there's one we know it exists somewhere in Netherlands. It's left with 15 years of life. You can go and buy it. Of course, a second-hand one is cheaper than a new one. I showed you that we get the 800 megawatts a year earlier, which is what our crisis is. And after that period, we'll still place the order for the new one, Mr. Kumar. So that's the point really I was making. And then, Ms. Mapumulo, you are absolutely correct, my sister. So it's a big omission. If you go to our IRP, biomass is a big part of that. In fact, now when we're sitting with the Premier, almost, she's very polite, she's very gracious. But I was telling Silas, she was really reprimanding me, saying, but biomass is a very big part of KZN, sugar and all of that. I take it that the organization also has a view around what is possible. I'm going to ask Silas here, the advisor, will sit with you. We'll sit and just have an appreciation of where you are in the process. Premier was giving us counsel and experience on engagement with the Brazilians. And it's playing a big, big part of the energy mix in Brazil. And she was making the point that, but Ramokgopa, are missing out on that opportunity. I'm happy when it comes from any industry player. So it means that there will not be any resistance in Asia. I think we can pull together because I'm sure you can see the opportunities. So Silas is here, will arrange this Mapumula and meet with you and the industry. We're not overcommitting ourselves. You'll see that we move very fast. Andre, you are absolutely correct. One of the unintended consequences, and I've admitted this publicly, of some of the interventions we are proposing is that they are going to lead to the collapse of local government. What do I mean by that? Andre makes the point eloquently. Is that the first people to take the options of going off the grid, not rely on ESCOM and municipal infrastructure, is your big payers, your energy-intensive users, big payers. Those are the ones who will go off, and you are likely going to remain with those who cannot afford, who are on the indigent register, and the delinquents. Delinquents, I mean someone who can afford and chooses not to pay. And I separate those from the poorest who are really deserving of government intervention. Now, the municipality, if you look at how we determine the tariff as a former mayor, is a function of the time of use and is also a function of the amount that you are using. And there's a premium you pay for that. So the people who are likely going to pay that premium give us a significant proportion of the surcharge because we want to make money from the sales. Your large energy-intensive users. And then we take that additional income, we redeploy it in poorer areas. We are able to build roads, clinics, and the like. And when your energy-intensive users, your payers who are on the mark in relation to meeting their municipal obligation, they find other sources, then it means that the municipality will be poor and it erodes their revenue base and municipality can't fulfill their constitutional mandate. Now, Andre, in our conversation with COGTA, we are seeking to resolve that question. And it goes back to what Dumisani was saying. I know Mr. Musomi is raising it in a different context of who owns these assets. I had done a picture there. So what we are doing is on a build-operate model, you find an investor, there's an off-taker, and over a period of time, the asset reverts back to the municipality, and they are able to, on a long basis, they are able to get the benefits of the sales of that electricity. Of course, from a cheaper source, it means that for the ratepayer, the tariff is not increasing at the rate at which we are experiencing. The municipality continues to get that additional income, and we meet our obligation to provide electricity to the poor. But at the current rate, Andre, you are absolutely correct. Municipal finances are likely going to collapse. Dumisani makes a valid point. So what they do, the energy-intensive users, they first enter into a PPA to enable its commercialization of that transaction, and then the developer then scales up, increases the utility scale, the capacity, and then they continue to crowd in, if you like, off-takers. And before you know it, they are off municipal grid, and the benefits accrue somewhere. And I think it's something that requires our attention. So, Andre, by our own admission, we do accept that there are significant and fatal flaws in what we are proposing. The interventions on the municipal side, very less really on new generation capacity by ESCOM, and that's why we're working with COGTA to resolve that challenge. And then, Tandukolo, yes, you are right. We have received the Collins one, Silas, is that the one you go the north, ne? Lady Smith, yes. We have said with the project developers, it suffers almost the same challenges as I've explained to Ms. Latswayo, because the primary fuel source is coal. But they did present to us technologies of carbon capture, the reuse of that for fertilizers. It really makes a compelling case on paper. They are still meant to come back to us. That is the project sponsor, to say how best we can work with them. But I'm just saying we're on course. On the nuclear, the two sites that have been identified is just adjacent to Quebec itself. It already has got the license. It can do 5,000 megawatt. And then there's also a site we have identified in the Eastern Cape. You see, the thing about the power station, nuclear or whatever form of power station, is that it's got huge economic activity. The spin-offs are massive. So you really want to ensure that there's geographic dispersion of these opportunities. You don't want to over-concentrate them in one geography. And that's why part of the conversation is of this 2,500, perhaps you can split it and let some of it be in the Eastern Cape so that you can stimulate economic activity and lessen the concentration of activity in Quebec, which is really Cape Town, and really other parts of the country missing out. So we are not only looking to resolve the energy complex, but the political economy of energy, if you like, the resolution of the unemployment problem, and also the geographic dispersion of these opportunities going into the future. On the incentive side, there are grants that are sitting with COGTA, that are sitting with human settlements, that are sitting with DMRE. We're looking to repurpose those grants outside an additional allocation from National Treasury to incentivize exactly the point we are making. And we have found that we can also, in there, also build this new technology, connectivity. There's a myriad of interventions that are before us, but we are just repurposing them, just trying to see what is the size of the ticket and how best can we deploy it in favor, if you like, of the poor and rural areas. So that's the direction that we are taking, Tandukor. And then maybe to say to Brian, I think your critique is well received. We have been given that assignment. I mean, what I said here, and I'm saying it with the greatest respect, will not be understood by an average person. I mean, an average person, Mchan, I can hear you. When are the lights coming? I'm sure ultimately, having said all of that, I know some of you are very polite. Who can hear you, but when are the lights coming, Chan? I think that's a primary question that needs to be asked. So, Brian, you are right. It's around ensuring that the communication of the message is simpler. Of course, these are technical things. In Spady, I can do it very, very well. Of course, there's I'm sure a language expert in Sizulu and all will do all of that. No, you're absolute, so that it finds traction. And then I left the important one. They are all important, but Mr. Kumalo, you're absolutely correct. Something, I mean, that's missing by our own admission is in this just transition, this intervention, where do you place people living with disabilities? not just as recipients, just feeling empathetic for them, but as primary participants. Because as you put it, is entrepreneurs with disabilities. So, and you make the point, I'm sure we can have a much more involved discussion. Fortune will sit, we will arrange, I'll join you in the conversation. And perhaps when we come there, Mr. Khumalo, it will be very useful because, you know, we don't want to exercise agency on your part. What do I mean by that? I can't speak on behalf of your constituency. I can't come there and say, we're going to do this and this and this for you, as if you are unthinking. You will say to us, this is how we see our role. And this is how the ministry can facilitate, Mr. Khumalo. So I'll appreciate that. We'll come and sit with you. So if you say we also do it Thursday or Friday, we can come and sit with you. There we're doing a factory visit. I'm sure it's a 90 minutes, 2 hours. They take us through. We can sit with you. But Fortune will arrange. We'll come to you and arrange. And let me just say the following before I sit down and hand over to the person who's really invited us here. Honestly speaking, is a premier. We're supporting the premier as the #1 citizen here. Is that the offers that we have extended to everyone here to say we can sit with your constituency, it's applicable to everyone. We will sit. I mean, as long as a constituency that is organized, discernible, will sit. We will not tire to explain the interventions we are making, but I'm sure we can benefit immensely from your contributions. But once more, thank you very much. I was saying to someone, when the premier started, when she was greeting, the energy was not there. So these days, because of the work I do, everything I do, I relate it to load shedding. So the energy was like stage 6. Yeah, now is a smiling. We're at stage 4. We're not yet at ending load shedding. But thank you very much, colleagues. I really want to give you the assurance that we're doing everything possible to resolve this challenge. We're getting support from Cabinet and the President himself. We are confident about our ability to resolve this crisis. It has taken long. You are suffering huge adverse impact on your business, livelihoods, but I give you the assurance that we will be in a position to resolve it. Thank you very much, Premier, for the invitation.
Thank you very much, Minister, for that. What I just want to say to the colleagues, especially to the up-and-coming businesses, I'm glad that my colleagues from the Black Business Forum are here, and these are my colleagues that used to be called forums, and they converted themselves to be Black business, and they are legitimate businesses, Minister. And I just want to say, just like Kumam from Rose, that it's important that you research about these things, because there's a lot of businesses and companies that would come and claim to have solutions or wanting solutions and wanting to sell you things that are not really legitimate. I want to say that. For instance, I mean, I kept on asking about the solars, whether they're being manufactured or being assembled. In fact, CSR is doing a lot of researches about a lot of solars that are being assembled by a lot of companies around South Africa, which one are legit and which ones are not legit. And we look at various ones. And part of the problems, as my colleague was asking Khumalo there, what happened to a project, Yama solar geysers, it ran into those problems that some of them turned out that in a long run they were not working properly, and others structurally they didn't last long, and others as well structure sama sezindlu zethu they were not ezinye izindlu, they were not capable zokukwazi ukuthwala amanye wala solar geysers. zase ziyamiswa. Kodwa njengamanje uMinister is going to be giving us about, how many are giving us? About 10,000-ish. He's giving us about 10,000-ish kanjalo, young people that are going to be trained on manufacturing, not assembling, manufacturing solars. And that will kickstart the new project again, Yalama solar geysers and solars, that we are going to be starting again a project yakona in all our communities, and we are hoping that izoqala khona manje in this financial year. So we are hoping that, as you were saying, it was a very good project. But coupled with that, ile usisabeka khuluma ngayo, biomass, biogas, biodiesel, all of those other energy mix that we use in KZN. We spoke about them with the minister earlier as well, especially with the biomass as well. As you know, we have a lot of cow dung in KZN. And we have actually used a lot of those in the northern part of KZN. We have houses as we talk, the biomass, and it electrifies, it cooks, ikanyisi friji, ikanyisi indlu, ipege, and yenzi aina with just one bucket, 25 liter. So there are a number of those as well that are available as part of our energy mix in KZN. And the minister said we should actually push those as part of and parcel of what we contribute as KZN. So I think it's going to be our contribution as well. It's the part here LED on Cocta and CISB that perhaps we must. I think the issue that was raised, Minister, on whether municipalities understand the supply chain and how how municipalities deal with this integration into the grid and all of that. I think we spoke about it earlier, that we will be calling that meeting to try and see where we can support, particularly eThekwini with that. We'll be looking at that. But also in terms of the part of the LED, I think it's something that we might want to look at. Because when we talk about the whole value chain, as Minister kept on talking about it in terms of the distribution, the transmission, the generation, I think it's important for all of us to understand as well, ukuthi ugovernment kakhulukazi singena kuphi thina, kukuphi lapho esibona ukuthi singadlala khona i-role kakhulu. Ngoba kulezi zinto ezihlukahlukene kukhona lapho esingeke sikwazi ukungena khona, kukhona lapho esingangena khona kalula futhi, kukhona lapho njengoba I wanted to minister ukuthi I emphasize le kumam about into coal, because honestly when I heard about it I felt that there's a lot of people who've been hoping that they could still do a lot of things with the coal. But there is very less that we can do. But of course, we know that we've got a lot of deposits of coal. We need then to say what are the alternatives that are there. But it's something that we can discuss, of course, offline. There are options, but there are very limited options that are there. They are there, but they are very limited. And I wanted the minister to share it with the House so that even others who are having those ideas can know that there are those options, but they are very limited, so that we don't have too many expectations, because I know that in KZN in particular, in the Newcastle area, those areas, Bo Escort, there's still quite a large deposit of coal, and Abantu Bagiti, even in the north, they are still very wanting to exploit. But there are limitations that are there, and with the geopolitics as well in the picture, it even gets more complicated. But I think the minister, as you said, it's something that we can discuss. Siyabonga, MEC.
Thank you, Honorable Premier. I was trying to save the time that you have, and I'm certain that you thought we are going to take longer than what we indicated, that by 1:30 we should be finished. But because I know that you were angry with me that I didn't start in time, I tried even to shorten that 1:30. We are not even at 12. I'm joking, we are at 12:30. At the moment, we thank the minister, we thank the premier. They have responded to all the questions, unless we still feel there are follow-ups. But what I have understood from what the minister and the premier are saying, these are ongoing engagement. You're still going to engage. It's just that today we are going to stop here. I want to, you have been a good audience, but may I then, so that I vote of things. I'm not tasked to do that. I'm tasked to program direct the program. On that note, may I ask Mr. Silas Zim to come and do the vote of thanks, then we'll then indicate what then next.
Good day, everyone. Yes. So, Minister always say, whatever we do, we should not leave communities behind. And every time he takes us through to meet people and explain what he's doing, a lot of interest come out. These interests are a sign that we all, as South Africans, are interested in ending load shedding. Premier, thanks a lot for hosting us, the venue, and the welcoming. We're going to continue engaging as we've promised you. And to the audience, Minister, different things, very interesting things came out. Advices, your slides are many, just put one. You know, the others are who owns Eskom. Where's this electricity after load shedding? And maybe we must start to save it and store it more so that when people ask, where is it, we can show them. At the moment, it's not stored, it just goes away. And then there were lots of DSM programs. I think I didn't take everything as questions. It's inputs that we're definitely going to look into. And if they say it's really high-grade coal, think of exporting it. Because the power stations are using very, very low grade, most of them. But I think 12 people stood up and asked more than 32 questions, which is a sign of an interest in what the minister was presenting. And for that, I would like us to give those people and ourselves a round of applause. And to the person who saves us time, Minister, Premier, or Program Director, she really saved us an hour. So a round of applause to her. And may we all enjoy the rest of the day. And thanks for coming. Safe trip back home and to the offices. Thank you.